Guys, welcome back to another episode of Unmotivated, the podcast where at times we try to find the motivation to keep going. Look, we're sitting here with Better Breast Dog and Iron Shark K9, and there we go. Now you're back in business, buddy. There we go. Turn that third mic off when it's just me and Q on there, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this last couple episodes. But point is Stan said, hey, Trev, we got to do something about whipping your dog's ass. We were speaking corporately, is how do you make sure you don't reward a dog for doing fucked up shit? and then when it does do fucked up shit, what do you do? But at any hoot, Stan, what brought about this topic and why is it important to discuss?
Well, my man Jamarcus had put me on this Chat GPT,
Chat GPT.
So to get on podcast ideas, and it was talking about positive reinforcement versus negative reinforcement, and that's a big topic in the dog world. People think, you should only use reward bases, no punishment whatsoever, all of that. So I figured it'd be a good topic. And then my kid, she's acting out in school a little bit, and we were talking about, did you get spankings when you were younger? A lot of times people nowadays, they don't even spank their kids no more. So when you tell them to correct their dog, they can't even imagine. So I figured this would be a good topic because, the way you articulate things.
Well, I would tell you this. I love creativity, and punishment in itself is a fun thing. It is I'm a sadistic son of a bitch, if we're being honest. And so part of that is this person likes this. Well, we can't just take it away. That's if we remove it, we got to work back, and we're going to. I think I get real creative.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the whooping question, it's rooted in us. We were beaten as slaves, and that ideology was passed on from hand to hand, from man to woman to man to child to baby to whoever else. Mm-hmm. And I tell you this, I don't know that it's a good thing. I don't know that it's a bad thing. Did I get my ass beat to death? And there were moments where I too thought I was going to die and couldn't sit down at times and say, oh man, it's so bad. There it is, it's not great. Because there's other ways to convey things. And my dad got real creative as he got older.
Yeah.
He's like, hitting you in the mouth ain't gonna solve the problem no more, but this'll work.
And I think the correction has to be adapted as well. You can't do the same thing for a level 1 punishment or a level 1 offense because they're not going to learn from it.
So, but talk about the punishment. So, your kid, for instance, is cognitive. Cognitive means she's aware.
Understand.
Whooping and hollering, and even Stan was telling me the story. He goes, hey, why are you doing this? You know you can get your way. She said, what you mean? I got my way. He goes, wow. Oh, so you did get your way. No wonder you acting like this.
And you should have seen my face because I'm talking to her and I'm like,
he thinks you about to be a parenting moment, boy.
You didn't get the water after making this. She said, no, I got it. And I was like, damn. I was like,
it's the teacher's fault.
Yeah, it's like, so you know exactly what you're doing.
That's my point. So, but now mind you, I think depending on how much time you spend with your dog, early on, I think it's easier if you start early to focus on positive reinforcement. Yeah. So that's the thing. If you lean into it early on, we're talking 8 to 16 weeks, and you keep practicing and maintaining, the dog's goodness per se, then it's easier. When your dog is left to think separate and without direction, and it knows, but it's like, ain't nobody saying that. Mm-hmm. Even there's dude on Montel Williams back then, he had a show, black dude, bald head, right? Mm-hmm. Get this, he was interviewing serial killers, and the dude said, how'd you land here? The dude shows up on a big screen, he's in a white suit, white dude. He says, nobody ever told me I was doing anything wrong. So he kept killing things and getting in trouble, and it just kept escalating, and they kept giving him slaps on the wrist. He was like, Mm-hmm. I guess I ain't gonna get in trouble, so he kept pushing the limitations, and he turned into a real life murderer on death row.
And I'm gonna piggyback on what you said. Yes, positive reinforcement at the very beginning is important, but there's also negative as well. So if the dog is getting in the trash or jumping on too much or doing something, they either get removed from that situation. They're not getting an extreme correction, but they are getting structure in the sense of this is right and this is wrong, and you're starting to show them the way that they're supposed to go. So when they get older, they shall not depart.
Yeah, but keep in mind too, I think some of that challenge still goes back to how dogs bred too.
The facts.
Because if you breed a dumb dog, then it's gonna keep terrorizing things.
Because they don't understand.
Yeah, they literally don't have the cognition.
Yeah.
There are people out here, believe it or not, people who will never be smart in their life. And smart doesn't mean even being able to read. It means to comprehend and understand and know the difference between right and wrong. At times, some of them are born without perspective. So in your case, then, if someone is dealing with a hard-headed dog, and we'll go into both because you guys both are parents.
Yeah.
What is it that you do with a dog and work them from puppy to adult to make sure that you don't have to drop an elbow on the dog and really find that communication line? And for me, if I'm starting this off, it literally is. I love the cage. I used to, again, people, you know, you learn violence at a young age. You think it's going to solve the problem. I assure you it doesn't. Not with bully breeds or them aggressive breeds. They were bred to be assaulted, and that's the bad part about it. And in this case, you say, look, I'm too tired. I'm put this dog up, just clean up and move on. And that's where that crate comes in handy, because believe it or not, even if you're mad in real life, you can take a break, take a walk, and you'll cool off.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I cool off because I'm like, the damage is already done. It makes no sense to cause harm to myself or the dog. I'm too tired for this shit, man. I ain't got the energy, especially now.
It's not worth it.
You just go, let's pick this trash up. Nobody gets violent. It just is what it is.
Yeah, no, I personally think it creates a form of peace.
Yeah.
That's one thing the crate's done for me personally. So the crate's been something I've definitely leveraged with all of my dogs. They all have release commands, all that kind of stuff, all the way to the car. So instilling those little things early on is what helped, and even now working with Junior. The steps that I missed with Nala, the things that I've done with Junior, completely night and day. Junior's a little bit more calm. He's more manageable. Nala just a little all over the place. And that was just because of my insecurities, all the things that I didn't know early on. But the crate the crate has still assisted in that throughout this whole entire process. Because at least there's order and there's a peace at my home still that I get to have because of those things.
So when people are expecting a baby, they baby-proof their house. They're going to put covers on the plugs, all the little stuff, so they keep the baby safe. When you get a dog, you should do the same thing. I like the little X-pin, so you give the dog a little bit more space when they aren't in their crate, because you want them to be out with you, and you're still supervising their environment. And when a lot of people just allow their puppy to run around, oh, the puppy's peeing behind the couch. Well, you're not paying attention to them. That's why they're learning these negative behaviors. So at a young age, supervising them all the time. Your dog is never left unattended, because if they...
It's the same thing for a baby. That's a good perspective too, because, especially when a baby gets two.
Terrible twos.
Yeah, my buddy Rich was like, son, you ain't seen him in a while, boy. This boy be all over. He be two, you blinky up the stairs. He do all kinds of stuff that could put him in danger, right?
And not even know.
He ain't even know it.
Same thing with the dog. They're chewing up wires, cords. They can get electrocuted. All that stuff. Just, if you're not gonna watch the dog, don't have him out. I mean, and it's very simple. And when you tell people, they're like, well, I feel bad that he's in the crate all the time. Well, are you gonna feel worse if your dog electrocutes himself?
There's a lot of things to feel worse about. So what do you prefer? Because even when we talk about correction, because we've done videos where we'll snap the leash a little bit, especially on our harder-headed dogs. And the issue still with these, American bullies, man, they're not super confident dogs at times. To be clear, there are some people who breed some super confident bullies, and we try our best. But if we're looking at the breed itself, it's a breed that will retreat at times, or it'll do something defensive and become dangerous to its environment and others. And there's video proof to show it. And so then the other part is you go, well, if I don't build the confidence, then it'll never get confidence. So now we got a fearful dog, which is more dangerous than overconfident. You go, man, because a confident dog, he's like, I ain't got time for that. I don't need that thing.
Yeah.
So some protection people will tell you not to correct the dog until they're basically a year old, because you don't want to hurt the confidence of the dog. And I adapted that to a certain extent, because there's some stuff that I just can't allow my dogs to do, because I do have family. I'm a dog trainer. Like, my dogs have to have some type of order. But the level of the correction is going to match the age of the dog. So I'm not putting a prong collar on no dog under 8 months, 9 months old, because it's going to be too much of an intense correction for them, and you can shut them down more than you can build them up. So match the correction with the dog that you have. And every dog is going to be a little different. The way I'm going to correct Boot and Rocco, two totally different corrections. And then a lot of times you want to think psychologically as well. So if we're working on some obedience stuff and my dog's not doing it, instead of correcting them for not doing it right, they're just not going to get the reward, and I'm going to go put them up. And that's going to affect them more than me getting onto them and shutting the dog down.
What's been the trick then, and both of you could answer this, to managing your child's growth? Because Stan, your oldest kid is how old?
She's 13.
She's 13. Your youngest is how old?
5.
Man.
And a 6.
And then Jamarcus, you got a what?
He's 12, actually. Yeah, he's about to turn 12.
So he's got a 12-year-old. So what's the trick to managing I guess, what do you call it, corrective work with a kid, or positive reinforcement. What's that like on the human side, man? And does it transfer into the dogs at times?
I mean, it really does transfer into the dogs because you got to match the corrections.
Yeah.
The way that I'm going to correct my oldest and youngest are going to be two different corrections, even though they may do the same thing.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've been using is picking up dog poop. You know, it kills two birds with one stone. I don't have to pick up the poop, and they don't want to do it, but they're getting it as a consequence to the action that they decided to make.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I want my kids to understand, that there's consequences for every action that you make. If you do X, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I reward them with stuff. So if they've done good in school, hey, you can get a smushmelon or whatever when we go to the store.
Smushmelon.
Hey, whatever they're calling them nowadays. But if you're not, like I told my kid yesterday, I was like, she got a spanking. She couldn't get on her tablet, and she had to pick up poop. And she's like, man, this is a lot. And I said, no, this is exactly what you wanted when you started throwing a fit at school because you couldn't have water. You got the water, but now you have to do this, this, and this. And then she kind of looked, and you're like, man. And then once you start seeing the wheels start turning, it's like, okay, it may be making an impact. And then today, she had a very successful day at school. She apologized to the teacher, and it was fine. So now you just hope and pray that it continues to go.
There you go. And so how does that translate to the dogs then?
I mean, same concept. So, like with Rocco loves to go with me. So if he does something that I don't like, he doesn't get to go. And that's going to affect him a lot more than me busting his ass, because he don't care. He does not care about no correction. He'll look you dead in your eyes, and you can be drenched in sweat, tired, and he's going to look at you like, all right, I'm going to do it again. You know that, right? Because that's not enough for him. So you got to find what motivates the dog, and then you have to learn how to make them work for that or remove that from whatever they're getting. So it's easier with the kid because, of course, you can speak to them and they understand the English side of things.
That
but
part.
The dogs, you just have to keep going, honestly, and then adapt to the next time they're messing up. Because they're an animal at the end of the day. They're going to try to find a shortcut.
Would you, and go ahead, Jamarcus, you answer this question. Go ahead and answer.
In terms of which, both parts, as far as the...
Yeah, which one's easier to correct, a child or a dog?
Well, for sure, child, because you can communicate, I would think. With the dog, you have to read dog
Boy,
behavior.
didn't they try to correct you and it didn't work?
No. But here's the thing. But what I've learned personally is that the structure and routine really do help.
Yeah.
That actually helps prevent a lot of the bullshit that you got to do.
On the dog or the human?
Both, actually.
Okay.
Even with my son, he gets in line when he's with me because there's things he's doing. He's not just left to kind of just do whatever he wants. You know, when he's with me, there's an order. By the time the day's over, he's dead. He's so tired because we've done so much throughout the day, and he's just like, and he likes the direction. Same thing with the dogs; they like the direction. Junior, I see it all the time now. When we get out, he's waiting for me to give him the direction of what we need to go do. He's not just running off. He keeps that proximity.
You know what's funny is some of you won't take a dog, put it like this. I can't wait till I get back to the place. Like, we're doing this stuff we're doing right now, but at one point I'll get back to have maybe 2-3 dogs tops, and that'll be it. And for me, you hear parents say at times they want, the kids to look up to them. I've had dogs that literally look up to me, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful thing. Like Coco was probably one of my best dogs ever. Walking her off leash up South Mountain, dogs being around, being a pit bull, and having no trouble because she only wants to be bothered with me. And you say, man, I wonder if I could build a bond strong enough that in all situations, I never question what my dog's going to do. Like in some cases, you shouldn't question the people you're around.
Yeah.
And there was a mixture of all kinds of things that had to go into my first real learning experience with the dog that I chose to buy with my money and spend time with. So the kid thing, believe it or not, I've actually raised a lot of kids. and I love corrective work.
Yeah.
Now, the irony is they're not my kids, so I could never whoop them. What I could do is spend the most valuable thing on life with them. That's time.
Yeah.
And if you spend time with me and I ain't got nothing but time, oh man, we gonna have a good time.
Absolutely.
So you be like, listen, what I want you to do is carry this 100-pound dumbbell or plate around this track 4 times. You got 4. I come up with something called the 3200. So objectively, they would have to squat jump around a track with an 80 to 100-pound dumbbell, and every time they stopped, they'd have to run a lap. Now they didn't have to pick the wheelbarrow back up till they chose, but imagine squat jumping around a 400 meters, and then having to do at least 800 worth of that. I assure you, they got to 3,200 before they got done, and that started in the morning. So you think it, you say, listen, I was telling Steph,
That's some demonic shit right there, boy.
Nigga,
That,
boy.
that makes my hamstrings hurt just
Tell you right
thinking
now,
about
man.
it.
And I never did that, to be clear, but I've done some of these crazy ass workouts, but they fucking suck.
But
and so you say, you understand that me and your mother, your father, we had a conversation, and you just can't get it together. So they said, hey, listen, if you got to stay the night with you, have fun. I got you.
Yeah.
I be like this. I got you covered.
Yeah.
And I assure you, I never had put my hands on one of them badass kids, and they all grew up and have grown to become great young men who listen and pay attention and all kinds of great things, because it is a time game. It is a patient game. It is a cognitive game, and I love thinking outside the box and analyzing behaviors, because behaviors are rooted in times in something completely opposite. So I can't personally say, and mind you, people, I got beat to death.
Yeah.
That I'm definitely not as an adult for the whooping thing anymore, and I know that because there's some times I'm like, boy, if I can put my hands on these kids, I'll wear their ass out. But they, long term, they tend to respect on the human side. They learn to respect themselves even more with all the time they had to put into every last rep. When coaches gave me power, parents gave me power, and I had the power to sit, communicate, talk, enlighten, enhance, enrich their lives with even acquiring skills. Because mind you, doing all that work, give them a new skill. You know what that skill is? Them kids will tell you, they believe like, bro, can't nobody outdo me, Trey.
Mm-hmm.
They can't outwork, they can't stop me. I can do anything. And I did T-Fit.
that's the same thing in the dogs. So like when we push these dogs, we're having them do like crazy stuff. But it didn't start there. It was this, and then it got a little harder and a little harder. So like even today, Boot running down the stairs, I don't know where he was going. I guess he thought he was going back to the car. He took off, and I said, "Hey, boy, down!" And he just dropped into a down.
And trust me, now I was like, damn, I was like, what's that? That's one of those moments. That's that real lifestyle shit we were just talking about.
Yeah.
But
that was
it's
a perfect
so
moment.
many reps, and he knows exactly what he's supposed to do regardless of the situation. Like, he's been corrected and having to do more for the reward. It hadn't always been a physical correction with him, because I've told you, I think I've put a prong collar on him twice, and that was literally to polish one thing up, and I've never went back to it because I didn't need it. So it's having the physical correction with Boot would do more harm, so I had to get more creative. So when you're saying making the kids do a long sprint or this, like, it's the same thing we
A
do
long
with the dog.
sprint.
Yeah.
Well, that's a child's play. We're not doing no long sprint.
What did you hear what he was doing?
I mean, okay, it's not a long sprint, but a long.
Holding 100
I
pounds.
was like, did you
dumbbell?
miss the 80 or 100 pound dumbbell part?
I called it the wrong thing.
I'm about to
But
say a
the
sprint.
punishment that they had to do
They have to do
was
1,000 stairs with a squat touching every stair, 50 stairs up, coming down, bro. You don't understand and stand.
Damn.
I sit down and read a good book. I said, look, we got time today, buddy.
And this was what was their offense?
Well, in one case, Swoop, I believe, lied to his mother.
And
About-
everybody had to do this?
No, but sometimes one kid at a time, and other times other kids. And then sometimes it'd be the coach saying, T-Fit, they acting up. I'm like, well, let's go out here and solve that action. Say, hey, actors, y'all actors, y'all like acting. I'm about to show you how to act all right.
You was on some Coach Carter shit.
Oh, when I saw Coach Carter, I said, "Oh man, I could have been his what's it, protege." It worked, but it was him lying about having a detention and not having that A's. Mom saying, "Trev, you lied such and such." Perfect. I'll see him after school. I'll tell him right now. Just come to the weight room. We'll spend some time. But it could be anything, man. It could be. I mean, I sat down one time with. And mind you, there's less punishments at time. At South, and Rock was giving Coach Lonergan a hard time. He says, "Trev, man, he's talking back and won't listen." And I just had some Panera bread. I'm like, I'm about to eat before I deal with these fuckers. And I said, "Fuck, man, let's go outside, man." So I jogged all the stairs with him on China Mission South, and I just said, "Man, this is much bigger than." I had a conversation. Communication is what we miss sometimes. And then, mind you, even in reacting, be it your daughter, whoever, it's like, let's see what they're really communicating. So, hey, why did you feel the need? Well, the real reason why he might have a day where he's indifferent to this guy was he doesn't trust him. And at the time, shout out to my guy, I tell you this, KJ walked out of practice once. And he says, "Hey, have you seen KJ? I said, "Yeah, I'm looking right at him." He said, "Man, he told me I ain't shit and such and such, such and such, and left practice." I said, "That's crazy, man. He'd never talk to me like that." I said, he'd get thrown out. I said, "Think about this, coach. He was at football practice where it's way easier. And he found me up the street at Blue Valley North where they're dying. and he came to get some more work in. So there's a bigger problem. What's the problem? KJ tells me, well, Trev, he took me to get some food, and then he gets in front of the football team and say something like, well, man, I got you that Chipotle last night. Why are you doing such and such? You can't bring up what you do for a black kid, especially in front of everybody, and then think that's your leverage.
Nah.
And I ain't never did that. And trust me, I feed him jokers all the time. And it just don't work. So you say, what's the issue? Don't act like you're my friend and then, in front of people try to embarrass me. So you're embarrassing him. I embarrass him, and he's okay with it because he know he's not to. KJ, if you're at last again, you take your fucking ass home. I mean, you know better. What are you doing? And it's very clear. My embarrassment, your embarrassment, two different things, because I'm not embarrassing what he doesn't have. I'm embarrassing who I need him to be. And so as a matter of fact, you can't see him. Listen, get up front. Everybody got 100 reps on KJ. Down. Count. And now he got to make sure everybody speaking of KJ. They don't speak of him, add another 100.
So what happened if somebody quit?
I'll just send them home. Can't. Here's the thing. You don't work with the people who don't want to work.
Exactly. So I piggyback on that to say, what does somebody do if their dog just isn't motivated? Because I get the same questions. I get the same questions. People want their dogs to be something it's not.
I'm sorry. You got to let it live a good life. Your dog, if you're... Stan's been around our bullies, for instance. He's seen many bullies. And the only one I think comparable in a sense with that type of motivation is Chief.
Yep.
And Chief, super motivated. I personally shot him. It was a blast. He jumped in a truck. Big old heavy dog. God, he looked like he's a good dog. I've seen him on tour. I put my hands on him, petting him, just seeing him. And I tell you right now, dog is motivated, right?
Yep.
Now, challenge is somebody said, man, I want a dog like Chief. I want a dog like Igor. Tron, I'm like,
You don't want all that.
And it's not the case. So sometimes you got to let the dog be a good dog. And Baloo's a prime example.
Yep.
Yeah.
I paid $7,000 for a dog that didn't want to walk around the block.
And there was
Do I
nothing
keep
that you
dragging
could
him
have
around?
done.
No,
There's nothing
no.
you could have done to get him there.
No.
But a dog like Tron, so you had to put in a lot of work and time to get Tron to where he's at. A lot of people won't do it. They won't even do half of what it takes, and they want these results, especially with a dog that's not supposed to do it. So when we got to make sure people are getting the dog that they actually want, not that is popular. If you want a dog that's going to get active, get a dog that's going to get active. Don't get a 200-pound couch potato and expect it to do the stuff. Just because you saw Ego, Tron, Chief, all of these dogs that even Chief was realistically probably about almost 2 years old before he really clicked and started like, okay, this is what I'm doing. It took a lot to get that snowball rolling.
Yeah. And I tell people, it is going to take a lot with any American bully, especially a true one. Per se, there's not a true one, so you go, what are we getting here? Well, you never know until you got one.
You rolling the dice.
Dice day in and day out unless somebody breathes with the intent. And, I hear the stories all the time. I mean, Jamarcus said it last night when I was on the phone, and the guy said, to be honest, I started with the intent to get money.
Yeah.
When I got to the band, I learned very quickly, this is a bad idea.
Yep.
This is not working the way I want. So you be out. I don't think people be surprised, but even when we go back to positive and negative reinforcement, it really does depend on what motivates a person. Now, my job is to communicate that hate is not the answer.
No.
Mm-hmm. So you go and hate, anger, rage, any of those things. You go, I don't know if that's the best bet.
No, there's a better way.
Yeah, and so what is the best way? What are the things they should do or tools they should invest in if they are trying to do, we'll call them negative corrections, and what do they need for positive corrections?
I mean, it's going to depend on every dog. So, I mean, prong collars are good tools. E-collars are going to be a good tool. But if the dog doesn't need those things, I wouldn't use them. So even like today, Denver, he needs a correction, but a prong collar would have shut him down too much, so we used a slip lead. It's enough to get the message across. A dog like Boot, you don't have to use anything, but I use positive motivators for him to get him to do stuff. So it's either going to be food or he loves a tug. He actually dies for a frisbee. So you have to find what works for your dog. Ego, he's doing anything for a bite pillow. Like Tron, he's doing anything for a ball. But you have to spend time with your dog to find out what is going to be the best motivator and
or
demotivator.
Sometimes you have to be motivated to create it too.
Hey, that's true too.
I mean, like we're talking about dogs. I remember I was mad when nobody was around. I couldn't get Tron in the tree. I just finally got him a flirt pole. I'm running up and down the field, getting him driven on this flirt pole. Nobody's around, bro. And so then I put the flirt pole leaning into a tree. He won't leave the ground off 2 feet. And it's not even he doesn't even have to leave his back legs. He won't jump up and try to get the thing, or if he jumped, he nipped it. Mm-hmm. Now, Tron will jump up in a tree and hold on to a pillow and a rope for about 45 minutes.
Yep. I mean, same shit with Boot. Boot is a dog who's genetically not designed to bite and hold.
No.
That's not what he's supposed to do. If he did that, they got cold. So I had to teach him, hey, biting and holding is a good thing. And we started with the wall climb. And he would go up there, he'd come right off. He'd go up there, come right off. And then the other day, I was like, fuck, let's see how high Boot can get. He's getting 6 foot on the wall and hanging there now. So it's like he had to get motivated in that, but I had to spend the time and show him and make it a little more.
He was motivated by you though too, so.
Yeah, but that's what we were saying. You have to be motivated to get your dog there. Dogs can do a lot more than we give them credit to, but you got to put in the time and the consistency that it takes.
Makes sense. What you got, buddy? You got anything to add?
No, I would say, I mean, best tool I think personally is that crate, man. I mean, because I would say the other part to that is also your energy as well. I mean, a lot of people get frustrated very quickly. Patience is definitely key in this process, especially when you're talking about this positive reinforcement side of things. And if you don't want to have to whoop your dog's ass, then you got to really learn how to manage your emotions, because those dogs will test you. I mean,
See, but part of growth too is actually getting out of the ways in which you were taught. Think about what's been ingrained in us.
yeah,
You know, we've only known violence, so we don't know that our words are powerful because you've never had to live up to anything. So the thing that the dogs have definitely taught me is, mind you, I have to stay calm in a lot of situations. 'Cause everything annoys me. But if I lived in a heightened state of annoyance, I'd stress myself out and have a heart attack already. So you go, where's the truth in all this? And I think I was telling Jamarcus, and I said this to Q. You know, I literally, there's a guy who Jamarcus heard me talk to the other day, and he's literally said, fuck you, nigga. Such and such, such and such. He was never about helping me, boom, boom, boom. Fast forward 6-7 years later, I didn't defend myself then. I ain't defending myself now. But I will tell you, I lived in the place he lived when he was expressing this, but I lived there much younger. So when I hear people lash out, I assure you it's something else going on in their lives.
yeah,
And so it's hard to get me to respond or react. My bad, react, because I go, you don't really mean that. And fast forward, who's he? You know, who he come back for because he need help with? The most honest person that he knows, despite his, you know, our indifferences.
yeah.
But no matter what, I never mistreated him. You know, whether he like some people, and not just him. They come, man, I want you to do something. I was like, that doesn't work that way. You know, it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So what I love about the road we're walking down now, even with the dogs in terms of positive reinforcement, is, let's say Cha-Cha gets out and chews up the trash like she does different times, right? Did she do anything wrong?
She was a dog.
She was a dog, man.
So you go in the garage,
Yeah.
there's fucking trash everywhere. Does it behoove me to beat her ass? Not at all.
No.
She got out the cage with me. She's motivated in a different way, and then they're supposed to rummage and survive and dig and be nosy per se. In that
Yeah.
way. She dug in the trash and found it. You go, okay, it's not the end of the world. We just got to clean up. It ain't her fault. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can just get a rough land.
That too. So you got these Walmarts.
Yeah, them wire crates ain't for a motivated dog, but
Man, say.
like what she broke out and then broke back in. That video that y'all posted last week. Y'all didn't know which dog got out.
No, it was Cha-Cha. What you
Oh,
mean,
it was
no?
Cha-Cha.
No, she didn't go back in. She just be roaming around once she get out. She was roaming around, pooping and peeing
Yeah,
everywhere.
you
bro.
just open the garage and she's sitting there right there, belly full, boy.
Nigga, she done had pasta, noodles, a couple beers.
Whatever's in there, bro.
She didn't ate it all, bro. She ate herself to sleep.
Sleep, bro.
Yeah,
Pissed
man.
and shit everywhere too.
Yeah, but those are the type of situations, you know, and you say, so what are the situations where you need to use, we'll just say the prong collars and stuff. I don't even know if you need to use it when you're walking, because if you start the walking thing early, the dog will stay within your purview. If you start the recall early, you'll be able to keep it close. If you start to heel early, you normally, you know, you look down the line, you say, where are tools most beneficial? Because we saw Cats whisper to his dogs. When we saw Jonathan Katz at one time,
Yeah, oh yeah, man, that was
he
impressive.
said, I start focusing on the control.
in communication,
And
man.
you go, he's like, dude. And then even Stan said, you know, think about what you don't need to train a dog to dance. He said, and that for me, people, I've talked to quite a few dog trainers just when I was working over at the company. And that was probably one of my favorite ones because the story was good. And then when I heard him talk about control, which aligns with what Stan says too, he said, I watch these old women dance with their dog. I said, I need to learn that. Because the pro and all that's cool, but like, that's a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And
You can't
that's
correct a dog to do that. you can't say stand up on your back legs. Wow, wow. Like,
so you know what I'm saying? So then you go, okay, so if watching the unique breeds do it, you so what are they doing that I'm not doing? And clearly that might make me a better dog trainer, right?
Yeah.
It's a collective work that basically
grows your purview, aka just your perspective. So for me, as I'm sitting here working with Stan, like I wish I could give Stan and Jamarcus fourth of my brain power.
Trust me, we take it.
It would speed this whole thing up. To be clear, and but that's not reality. And so when you go and I listen to old videos of Steve Jobs talking about letting them make mistakes so they develop their own processes, and he's running $100 million business, but he's still got to let them like, if I go do it, they're going to think but I need them to figure it out so this thing can work when I'm not here. It is a journey, so part of even having the dog and working with people and kids and children and puppies to adult dogs is like, walk me through their journey. That's a question that I would ask. And then that journey, I said, I don't know if it aligns with me. And if I want to deal with the burden of what you've not done, to be clear, or what you think you've done. And in Stan's case, well, give me his ball, let me see what he likes. The trees, let me see. He said, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to connect with solving some of the problems you're having, but I might have somebody. And that's where he maybe creates an extension of his business where they're affiliates, and by the affiliates, Stan still gets a percentage, but he doesn't have to do the work, and he can still focus on his thing. So I again, for me personally, moving forward, it is going to be a battle, but not the biggest one, because I just don't have the energy anymore, realistically, and to go out of my way to do the whooping or beating thing, only because I study history, and I know that there's an internal struggle in all of us, and a lot of time it's not rooted in hope and faith, let alone work. So you go, where is the struggle? Well, the struggle isn't in the whooping, because anybody can whoop. 9 out of 10 of them need to learn how to communicate. And really seek what's the real problem here. And I assure you, whatever you think the issue is, it's never that. Something else is going on, and it's the same thing with the dog. And there are a lot of key factors that play into these things, right? And it's just like, Q brought up women in their hormonal cycle. There are a lot of women that go through a lot of stuff hormonally that literally fucks with their well-being at times. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. And that too happens for a dog at times too. Every 6 months, the dogs can become a little bit more difficult to live with and deal with and be with and manage per se. And that in itself is a journey. So,
but you heard me refer back to this moment a lot outside of Little Lamb Jamarcus's place, where we had Rocco and he came out and didn't do 100% right, and I was pissed off. Yeah, that day changed everything. It changed literally how I just interact with the dogs, because once I get there, it was the same thing in basketball. Once I got upset, like, I couldn't dribble, I couldn't pass, I couldn't shoot. It's the same thing with the dogs. If I get frustrated and upset, now they don't perform, and it's even worse. So, like, the perfect content we were trying to get, we damn sure ain't getting it when I get upset. So being able to relax in the split-second decision to be like, you know what, it's not even worth it, it's something I even try to stress to other people as well.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Because
I'm telling him to calm down. He's like, hey man, stay calm, brother.
Stay calm. Like, it's a dog. They're gonna mess up. But that's what I think we need more in this world. Like, one person gets help from somebody else, and they need to pass that on. And that's why I appreciate you guys, because you guys hold me to a higher level than I even hold myself to. And I feel like I demand a lot from me, and it's been cool to even having to level up again. And I just want to be able to share that with everybody else. And that's why I appreciate being on this podcast, because we are making changes and making the dog world a better place.
Yeah, and realistically, it's a byproduct of us choosing to better our own lives, man. It's not rocket science. Everybody here is thinking about how to improve, and my thoughts on provision and then improving you guys is definitely key. And again, it's a journey, and Stan's referencing a point that I'm glad that it's a real point in time for him, because it was pivotal. And I think even his own growth, and still to today, you go, well, is there a different way? And then you got, it's an internal struggle, right? Because now we go and ask ourselves, why did I get a pit bull? Oh, because it's the black people's dog, so it makes me look tough and feel tough and safe and all those other things. It's like Stan keeps a gun on him. He's always safe. He's friends with the police, so he's probably a little bit more safe than us. So you look up, he works with the cops and various others. So you go, how many ways do you not feel safe? Probably still gonna be some non-safe things, but a dog is not we'll just say a punching bag. And I'm not saying that was what's going on. All I'm saying is most people get the dogs that unfortunately reflect their nature. So in this case, tough people get tough dogs. People who want, and then there are people who want protective work, which is a whole different journey, and they get those kind of dogs.
And then you see the people who have peace, and shout out to the white people, golden retrievers, and labs,
And the doodles.
and the doodles, man. Them dogs ain't getting their ass whipped. It is not. and it's because when you start ascending to a level of wealth and success, that don't even cross their mind. They're in peace. So realistically, it's something rooted in us is disruptive to our spirit, souls, and nature that causes conflict, and then we take it out on things that had nothing to do with it. So the dog wasn't there when you was fucking your life up, or feeling less than, or angry. And it ain't intentionally sometimes. Most times it's not intentionally trying to ruin your life. But it is, as we talked about, a journey that is extensive. And it requires work. Q said something in one of the episodes about, everything's good until the shit hits the fan. I said, well, most things stay good when there's maintenance done, right? I was thinking about it like this. We know stuff is going to go wrong, but what did you actually do to maintain it?
Yeah.
You think about the maintenance of something, we try to get to the gym, try to exercise, and if you don't, you feel super sore when you go back. Body, you're out of gas, you got no oxygen because you have no conditioning. And it's those little things that really, the maintenance, right? So then, in this case, you're saying, how do I maintain my emotional health? And part of maintaining your emotional health is not putting yourself in situations that cause you stress, especially the same stress that you've dealt with for 20, 30 years. Mm-hmm. So part of sustaining goodness is surrounding yourself with greatness. And that doesn't mean bad things aren't going to happen, but if you don't maintain it by practicing little things every day to ensure that you're good, then you probably are going to fail.
Facts. So like what I did with Boot today, we literally practiced that. Him downing in motion, going to a bite, whatever.
Yeah.
So in that situation, it's second nature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I literally could not imagine my dog running out and getting hit by a car like in the street like that again. And that's what flashed back into my head is like, oh shit, he can get hit. We're in a parking garage.
Yeah.
He's off leash running to where he's not looking both ways. But it was the maintenance in the everyday training or every other day or just interacting with him. When I say something, he knows something else is about to happen. And if I say, hey, you're doing the wrong thing, he like, okay, cool, let me not do that.
Yeah.
But the maintenance, and that's what people don't want to do. They want to do it one time, and it's not that.
Trust me, today was proof of concept with Nala too. There's not been enough maintenance with her in those type of settings personally. Because I've been also, pouring into Junior way more than her and all that kind of stuff like that. And there's a lot of things communication-wise that I missed early on as well, too. Mm-hmm. So, it was evident today. Night and day, even in terms of what you said with Boots. It was just like, man, it was a perfect time. He's running down the stairs, getting ready around, and he said, hey. And he fucking did his thing, recalled him, all that stuff, told him to down, relax, and he did it in that moment. And I was like, man, that was a real-life moment right there.
And those are times you wish you just always had a camera running.
Oh, I already know.
In due time, people, but... I would tell you, corrective work and should you beat your dog? I would say no. I think a lot of us need a lot of emotional healing and curing of our past. And I don't know what that looks like for you guys, but even sitting down here and talking to, Stan and Jamarcus and Q and Maul and everybody who gets on, when you start really looking at what really going on, you go, what was I mad for? Mm-hmm. Well, Stan in this case could have been mad because someone corrected him his whole life and told him what done. So when his dog messes up, he gets frustrated so much so that he's like, I'm going to punish you. You go, why? He just needs more work. Yeah. And then here's the thing. You're never prepared for everything. Mm-hmm. That's the part you got to remember about it. We're never prepared for everything that's going to happen. So when things do go wrong, it's kind of like in that scene in River. I always love it. So what an opportunity to learn. Yeah. And so I look at it now, it's like, just put him up. Jamarcus and I'm like, oh, you don't want to listen? Put that nigga up, boy. I ain't got time today.
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal. I'm not dealing with this. I got 5 fucking dogs, if not more. Somebody gonna listen.
The percentages is in our favor.
Somebody gonna listen. One dog ain't gonna make or break this video.
Man, for real though. That's facts.
So I be like, this nigga don't want to put that nigga up. I ain't going back forward with him.
That's so funny. That's how it was for me. Literally the other night I was trying to shoot a video, man. And that's exactly what I did too. I was like, I got 4 other dogs I can go get.
Get a different
We did that shit the other day. We were doing some recall. The one dog we were working with, she got tired. It was like, all right, we're finishing with a different dog. Like, that's not going to stop what's going on.
And that's the part of the thing, people. If we're weighing in on good, bad, ugly, whooping, not whooping, love, care, affection, hatred, anger, rage, I would tell you to make sure in all situations manage yourself. And there's a saying in the Bible where it says, Jesus forgave 70 times 7. only to say 490, only to really say, you know, I forgave you. I ain't gonna forget because clearly they know the numbers. but the gist of it is if you are going to forgive anybody, forgive yourself for whatever you're dealing with, man. You know, I took it a little left, but there's a lot of stuff that people are dealing with, and I assure you, your dog is not the outlet, your child is not the outlet, your significant other is not the outlet to the pain that you are unwilling to heal from, communicate about, or learn from. And if you're not learned from the things you've gone through, then you probably will keep going through them in your mind, and the mind is the most dangerous place to live. Like next to a bomb going off or guns being fired, the most dangerous place on earth is your mind.
Yeah.
Facts.
No, all that stuff's real. Hey, you know, one thing I learned about my personal reactivity is that my family growing up, the way they solve problems when they get frustrated is they just all explode and start screaming at each other.
Oh man.
Everyone, my aunts, my moms, my uncles, everyone. That's how they always would, you know, how confrontations happen. They would all start yelling at each other, screaming. So then, like, of course, later in life, when I get frustrated to a boiling point, what would happen? And so I learned that about myself. So now I have learned to, like, hey, take a deep breath, go for a walk, all those little things. And even like Stan has said at times, even when you're working with the dogs and your frustration starts to set in, like they can feel that through the leash.
Oh yeah.
They can feel all that. So that's why I said that crate is important, because then you can put them away, take a deep breath. We'll come back to it later, or once you, like you say, go get another dog.
Yep, go get me another one, bro. I ain't got time for these. I ain't got time, bro. I mean, I'm already running. I tell people I'm on borrowed time as is, so I can't spend the majority of my day anxious or upset. It doesn't do us any good.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anybody any good, especially when, you know, respectfully, there's quite a few people who look up to me, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to have something to look up to or something to look forward to.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. That's the problem. So you just get more and more frustrated, not knowing why your life is struggling. I was gonna say ain't shit, but you know, I don't know none of you. That's the truth. That's the truth. I ain't gonna make it personal because it ain't really personal.
man.
It ain't personal, man. Well, anything that you want to you know, maybe finish with, or you know, close us out with in terms of positive and negative reinforcements.
Yep. So there's a time and a place for every correction, and make sure it is worth it in the end, because you don't want to overcorrect your dog and ruin the relationship, and then it's really going to bite you in the ass later on. So if you don't have to, just don't.
I would say, hey, develop a bond relationship early on. That structure and routine is important. That crate is important. Make sure you get them on a nice little schedule and stay consistent. Like, we have a lot of dogs. And I was thinking, if I only had one dog, man, it'd be a little bit more, it'd be way more manageable, and then you'd be able to
Dre said life is amazing. And
exactly, exactly. So I mean, if you only have one dog, get on a nice, solid, structured routine, and those will minimize those problems later on, because that bond is there. They're going to want to do whatever it is that you want to do. I mean, you've seen Rocker with Stan, and man, that dude is always usually tuned in. And I know you've had to correct him at times, clearly.
Yeah.
But I mean, you talk about
place.
everything compounding over time. Like, now he's probably like one of the best dogs ever just to manage.
Yeah. He's old now. He retired. He don't care.
Yeah, but that's the best
he be
part.
getting in the trash now. He be like, hey, nigga, this one move. So like Trevor said, it's like, I'm not going to fuck him up at. He's a senior citizen now. It's like, you know what?
He's
Hey,
a senior citizen.
just go get in the crate, Playboy. It's fine. So
and people keep in mind too, you know, I think having a goal for your dog is everything. So if you don't have the goal, then just let that nigga live.
Yeah,
You know,
100% agree.
don't-
realistic goals.
Yeah, don't
That
act
part.
like people, hey, I want my dog trained. You look at their lifestyle, you say, boy, you ain't trained. You know, not gonna do your dog, brother. You're an untrained civilian. I said, so I'd be like, there's nothing I can do for you, man. But you might want to reach out to Iron Shark Canine or Better Best Dog. They got the time. I just looked at my watch. I ain't got time today. But anyway, people, like, subscribe, share. What a good topic. Again, I'm sitting on the other side, the offense. Stan deals with way more dogs than I ever deal with, and I've dealt with some hoodlums. But I'm definitely more leaning toward. I don't even know if I'm gonna call it positive reinforcement in a sense. I just think there's a way to talk to the dog or work through the dog's challenges, and it's not because we're being positive, it's because you're being clear, right?
Yeah.
So if I say no mean no. Do I need to punch him in his face and tell him no? If you don't listen, you go back in the crate. That's a positive moment, because I didn't lose it, he didn't lose it.
Communication.
So you know what I'm
It's
saying?
key.
We got to look at it a different way sometimes, because the positive is me not putting my foot in somebody's ass. This is a positive moment. We grew here.
It's a win-win situation here.
Guys, in this case, look, take care of your dogs and stay motivated.